Tim, thanks for joining us today, fresh off the back of your recent updates from the Millennium Copper Cobalt Gold Project in Queensland. Firstly, can you just quickly recap the latest drilling assays and what should investors be narrowing their focus on?
Yeah, good morning, Alex. Thanks for having me on board again. These latest drill results that we're seeing from Millennium are pretty exciting. The call-outs are on holes 3 and 4 in the southern zone of the mineralisation. And there we had some multiple intersections of total graphitic carbon, which are over 40%, and that's standout. The intersections were thick and near surface, and that's always good from a mining point of view. We can get into it a lot quicker as we get into the process of seeing if we can mine it. But importantly, the graphite is in addition to the main focus of the cobalt, copper, and gold at Millennium. It's not instead of, it's in addition to. So that's what really does start to drive some value to the project. The graphite has potential for being an additional revenue stream, and obviously because it's sitting within the copper cobalt pit shell, it would otherwise have been mined as waste. So it brings value on many different horizons.
Thanks, Tim. Now, given Millennium currently hosts an 8.4 million tonne at 1.23% copper equivalent JORC resource with clear potential to expand, how significant will the additional tenure be in expanding the overall resource base?
Look, it's very, very important. In late November 2025, we lodged an additional mining lease application over an area of Millennium that we call a gap zone. And that was an area of tenure that had been previously held by others. And it was located adjacent to our 5 granted mining leases. So in now securing that tenement, we'll be able to access the mine and potentially mine the entire mineralized zone, whereas beforehand we had some compromises to make. So based on some initial numbers that we've been working through, we see that there's potential for another 20 to 25% of tons at Millennium now, and potential for that to be at a similar or slightly better grade than we have seen in our own drilling so far. So realistically, this is a really, really important stage for Metalbank to add more value to Millennium through that additional tenement that we've applied for.
Now, Tim, the recently reported MOU with Austral Resources to process ore at the Rocklands Mill, just 20 kilometres away, is a major step toward development. So what key milestones need to be achieved to transition Millennium into production?
The MOU was a key milestone for us. It provides the opportunity to work with Austral to evaluate the option of toll treating Millennium ore at their Rocklands plant. As you indicated, the Rocklands plant is only 20 kilometres away from our Millennium ore body. So in terms of distance, that's really as close as you can really get, I think. So the key milestone for us now, granting of the exploration and the mining leases that I spoke about beforehand, so that we can then continue to grow the resource, that potential there, that additional underground or open pitable ore that we will see, and then the drilling in the gap zone itself to provide sufficient data for a pre-feasibility study, which will include geotechnical, geological drilling, and importantly, the metallurgical drilling that will allow us to work with Austral to see how we can actually get our ore through their Rocklands plant.
Thanks, Tim. Now, just turning to graphite, with thick high-grade intersections such as 30.85 metres at over 14% total graphitic carbon sitting in the hanging wall of the planned pit, how do you see graphite evolving as a complementary value add to the core copper cobalt gold operation rather than a standalone focus?
The main focus remains the cobalt, copper, gold at Millennium. That hasn't changed. But in saying that, there is growing demand for high-grade graphite coming through. So for us, the timing is looking good. We work through our studies. We'll be adding the graphite revenue stream into our financial model, remembering it's rock we had to mine in any case. It was going to be previously potentially waste rock. Now it's got some value. And that graphite revenue stream will obviously need a recovery and a treatment solution to go with it. But all of those options will get brought into our future studies, and I have no doubt that the high-grade intersections of graphite are going to add value to our project.
Thanks, Tim. As always, really appreciate your insights, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Alex.